Namaskar. So we were listening to President Ramnath Kovind addressing the nation on the eve of the 75th Independence Day in both Hindi and English. And the President spoke at length about how India has emerged. A great deal, considerable distance has been traveled since 1947, and India has done that in a slow and steady manner, like Mahatma Gandhi had suggested, which is a blueprint also for India's rebuilding process from 1947 onwards. He also spoke about the current challenges that the world is facing, especially COVID, and how India has responded significantly to that. He praised all those who were involved with that, and the challenge of climate change towards the end of his address, in which he said that India has always given a message to the world right from the time of the Vedas, even the epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and the teachings of Guru Nanak and Lord Mahavir and Buddha, all very clear about the role of living in harmony with nature. We have with us a guest, Sanjay Singh, senior journalist, who will put into context a lot of what the President said. Sanjay Singh, so firstly, what do you see? I mean, the President in his address spoke about India moving towards becoming a developed country, but already seeing, many green shoots there, that India is already in that direction.
Yeah, precisely, Mark. This was 75th, on eve of 75th anniversary of India's independence, which we are calling Amrit Mahotsav.
Yes.
And therefore, his address to nation this time was even more significant than previous years. One very significant thing that he said, that India already is planning to mark 100 years of India's independence in 2047.
Yes.
So, which essentially means that we are moving in a direction, we are preparing ourselves, we are planning, we have that kind of determination, we have that kind of conviction to make India stand in league of most developed nation in, say, 25 years from now. That's a good thing to set a younger generation, of course, with that. And we have seen some startups doing really well. So that's a very healthy sign. The second thing he referred to about, besides other things that you mentioned, a few things I found in terms of messaging to people at large very interesting. He talked about Kashmir. He was there for
Yes.
4-year trip, and he said that a new dawn has come in Kashmir. And in that context, he referred to the talks that has held and the developmental process that has been unleashed in Jammu and Kashmir. The president ruled for the past 2 years. Development, of course, was there previously also. But 2 years, there is a significant change in the way developmental process is being done in Kashmir. There is relative peace. Security forces are doing their work. Of course, the Supreme Commander of Armed Forces.
Yes.
And that was one thing. Another thing, he talked without referring to the agricultural laws. He referred that there is a remarkable change, and in the agriculture in rural areas, there is good returns, both in terms of yield and in terms of monetization. That was a good thing to have said in terms of sending a message across to people and sections of people who are spreading disinformation and trying to misguide section farmers. Another thing, though he did not directly refer to the that has happened in Parliament and the kind of unprecedented ruckus that has happened, which has shamed not just the Parliament, but Indian democracy also to an extent, and it's just not being named, that the presiding officers of two houses, in particular, are dealing with. Fact is that he mentioned about construction of new parliament
building.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So let's take some of you mentioned so many important points. Let's take some of them in detail. Let's in fact start with what you're talking about democracy. And he did mention that even after speaking about Jammu and Kashmir, a new dawn, and then he brought in the aspect of India's stature also increasing globally. India is playing a much more significant role, and India has, as a nation of democratic values, is far ahead of many other nations of the world. In that context is what he was speaking about. And then he talked about, as you said, the new Parliament building, which will be ready in the 75th year of India's independence. So, and going to house a lot more parliamentarians, so, much bigger democracy and much more participation from people's representatives.
Yes, Mark. He mentioned about COVID and COVID warriors.
That's right, yes.
Medical personnel in particular. They deserve this, and so as the other frontline workers. In that context, the context that you're referring, India's stature in the world, see, a crisis situation where actually mettle of a person, mettle of a group, mettle of an organization, mettle of a country is tested. Your will, your courage and conviction to come over that and do things which inspires other countries. In this particular case, India did well. Pandemic 2 was, second wave was devastating to India. But even then, we stood our ground. We lost many people, both in terms of that is a huge social loss, personal loss to hundreds and thousands of people. But then we kind of had that determination that we will develop, and we developed 2 vaccines, and also given people of other countries through vaccine mandatory. Because we have stopped exporting vaccines for now because we are getting our people. It's a great achievement that now around 50 crore people vaccinated, at least the first dose. That's a
Indeed. Indeed. He did mention, true, he also mentioned about how the medical infrastructure has, been ramped up significantly after COVID. And India is obviously prepared as a result of that, for any third wave. But, talking about the efforts of the people, he also mentioned the common man himself, how people have come out, and that's the spirit of India. He liked the way that Indians have rallied around others who were in need during the pandemic, and that shows the character of the nation. Another aspect was showing the character of a nation which is, showing the signs of a developed country, the country that he wants to see us moving to, is that women are, getting their due in our society and playing a much more significant role, from the sports field to the areas of science.
Yeah, that was very encouraging.
Yes.
Women, conventionally, we have had problems in that particular area. But the way our women athletes and sports persons showed their guts and their determination and their preparedness and winning medals. In fact, all initial medals were won by women team and women individuals. That was a huge, huge thing to have done. And to appreciate that and to take that forward. In fact, there was Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign earlier by Prime Minister. This is going a step forward. And actually that has yielded dividend. On Republic Day parade also we have seen women leading the contingents. That's a good thing to have happened. And Prime Minister, the President rightly so expressed his appreciation and nation's kind of appreciation to them, to the women folk. Because the 50% around their daughters, their mothers, they actually are fulcrum of any family system and any society and, in the world.
Indeed. And he also spoke about the economic impact of COVID, and I mean, any country would be affected very heavily by this, but the package that the government has put in place, to not only to support the sections of society which would be most badly hit, but to re-establish, there's a 6 lakh crore rupee package for affected sectors, is what he said. And he also after that talked about medical infrastructure, but he said that agriculture has been doing extremely well and showing resilience, and he himself was so proud when he went to his own hometown and he saw the difference between agricultural infrastructure. So this, I mean, when we're looking at a country which is moving 75 years, he's noticing the great differences that are taking place. Would you like to highlight some of that?
It was good thing that he put in some personal touch and what he actually saw on the ground when he visited his hometown recently. This is an area where a lot of disinformation, I wouldn't say disinformation, but that's disinformation.
Right.
Because at a conscious level, you're spreading that kind of disinformation, not just within the country and misguiding people, but also abroad to an intention of creating a climate internationally that India is not the right country to invest. The president has dispelled all those doubts and cleared the air and has actually said that these laws, he did not mention that, but the fact remains that India's agricultural infrastructure, both in terms of yield and both in terms of marketing and monetization of projects, agriculture and
Yes.
products, is going up. That was a very good thing to have happened.
Indeed, and he talked about it in a psychological context as well. You know, the psychological divide between the urban and the rural is waning, is going away. And I mean, these are all the signs that India is emerging as a much more powerful nation. He also talked about the ease of doing business and the ease of living, and the, you know, the link between the two in a sense. And about Atmanirbhar Bharat, the driving force of, basically it is the nation standing stronger and moving towards big goals for 100 years of our independence.
A nation cannot become stronger and be in the league of developed nation until people lower down the order, social and economic order, are empowered. They have certain degree of ease of living. And they also have having got that, they are fired by some kind of aspiration about themselves, about their society, and about their nation. That is happening. We are seeing through Swachh Bharat, Ujjwala Mission, and so on and so forth, city to all homes, and now drinking water mission. That part is being taken care of. Also, there are social welfare schemes. Then you have Prime Minister Gram Sadat Yojana. With those things and housing to all, those things are happening on the ground in the hinterland. The thing you talked about rural-urban kind of divide, lessening of that particular divide, that is happening because there is a great deal of migration.
Yes.
Fortunately, unfortunately, that's a push factor, not because of that the pull factor and push factor combined. But fact remains, with that kind of migration, that kind of people traveling from one place to another place, even in search of livelihood, they bring back some ideas to their home native village, to their blocks, to their districts. And with that kind of a situation, it's not just an individual, but also families, the groups, the societies, they are also fired by some kind of aspiration. They also want certain things to have happened, and that puts also a degree of pressure in the political system, be it on the district, panchayat, be it district, be it state, and be it the center. The government here at the center has taken a position that popular aspirations is actually good for the country.
Right.
You are not buckling under burden of expectations of the people, but you are actually taking that as a good thing to have happened, to be a responsible government, so that you can deliver those things to the people. So in this particular case, the president was talking, he was inspiring confidence to the people with substance as to these things happen, that we move in that direction. Come in next 25 years, when India celebrates 100 years of India's independence, we will be in league of developed nation.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanjay Singh, for your inputs and your analysis of the President's address on the eve of the 75th Independence Day. And with that, we conclude this special broadcast. Thank you very much for watching. Namaskar.